They so lame. A lot of folks wanna see me losing this game, but I'ma make it so y'all remember the name. I'm going through love, and I'm going through pain. It's like as things change, they just staying the same. A lot of folks wanna see me losing this game, but I'ma make it so y'all remember the name. I'm going through love, and I'm going through pain. It's like as things change, they just staying the same.
Lost and I'm tripping, I should blaze, but in my damn mind, I could hit a landmine. Not even a hand sign pointing which direction is straight up. I'm just lost in my ways too. I wish I was Babe Ruth, so someone would think I'm the greatest. But instead, people hate you, lying to your face, telling all the wrong ways, trying to stray up. I put my headphones on all the way up, light a J up, put my A game face on like a slayer. All the AR guys don't wanna play up. If they got a billion name, boy, better pay up. Driving me insane, homie, straight up. If it bubbles at the surface, my temper spitting curses, doing disservice. I'll just a vermin, I'm better than that, because I'm so down to earth, but I'm still attacking while barely intact.
A lot of folks wanna see me losing this game, but I'ma make it so y'all remember the name. I'm going through love, and I'm going through pain. It's like as things change, they just staying the same. A lot of folks wanna see me losing this game, but I'ma make it so y'all remember the name. I'm going through love, and I'm going through pain. It's like as things change, they just staying the same.
Welcome back. I hope you guys had a nice sleep, a beautiful little slumber there. We're back, bitch. It's Sunday, November 23rd, and you're watching One More Round Fights. I'm the host of this here channel. My name's Gaff Domorigato, and we're here doing another fantastic stream after we had a great combat sports weekend. I mean, bets hitting left and right. Arman Tsarukyan sub, David Benavidez TKO. If you didn't know, UFC Qatar went down. David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde went down in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We also had another boxing card that went down. We'll cover that as well. But it was a good weekend. If you're a bettor and you follow One More Round Fights or the main card minute, you had yourself a good weekend. So if you don't already subscribe, don't already follow, please do so now. Like the video below, subscribe to the channel. One More Round Fights on social as well. Look at the socials right there. You can follow everywhere, even X. It's One More Round F8 there. Fuck you, Elon. But y'all know what it is. And don't forget to follow the main card minute. That's where we did the UFC Qatar watch along. And One More Round Fights is where we did the Benavidez versus Yarde watch along, which went incredibly successful as well. So thank you to everybody that showed up for both of those streams. We had a great time in the chat, making some bets, making some money, producing some wins, cracking some jokes, without the sex. So yeah. If you haven't already, please, we're trying to get to 650. I think we're like at 644. We just need 6 more subs. Let's get to 650. I believe if we get another good stream like we did last night, we might just hit monetization, my peoples. If you guys know that boxing guy I'm talking about, but my peoples, I fuck with that guy. He's cool as fuck. But I'm just saying, I mean, we're about 200 hours away, y'all. We're about 200 hours away from being monetized. So if you guys can up the subs, up the watch hours, keep it coming, we're going to be monetized in just about a week or two. Okay, so we got plenty of streams coming. In addition to one of the UFC streams, we're going to have some PFL streams coming. So lots of stuff to happen before the year ends. And please shout out to our sponsor, W.GG. Use promo code One More Round for 10% off. That is promo code One More Round for 10% off. Oh, and don't forget to send your wins into onemoreroundfights@gmail.com. I want to see how much you're winning too, bro. Send them in, submit them. It's like a fan sub. Even if it's not just the win, submit you chilling, watching us in the chat, having a good time. I don't give a fuck. Feel me? Show some love to that email. So, One More Round Fights. But without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into it. We have a fat little slate of MMA updates for you guys. Okay. A couple things happened over the weekend. A couple interesting things that I didn't expect to happen. A couple things that I'm just like kind of over, but it is what it is. We kind of have to cover the shit. So this is what we're gonna do here. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, December 19th. They had a face-off. And Anthony Joshua looked very big compared to Jake Paul. There is going to be a lot of obstacles for Jake Paul to overcome in this fight. The size advantage, the experience advantage, the knockout power advantage, the nerves advantage. Anthony Joshua has been on this big stage many, many times, facing the very best in the world. This is going to be Jake Paul's first time facing the very best in the world. So there's a lot of things to look into for this fight. Before seeing the face-off, I can guarantee you that my money was on Jake Paul. For some reason, I was like, Jake Paul, bro. I don't know what, like, I think there's going to be something. He's bigger than I thought, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And then I saw the face-off. And then reality sank in. A lot of things sank in, but mostly reality. And I was like, I've been in this Jake Paul business too long. I'm literally sipping the Kool-Aid enough to think that this man could really beat Anthony Joshua in a boxing match head-to-head. Anthony Joshua, the man that just knocked out Francis Ngannou. Anthony Joshua, who went toe-to-toe with many of boxing's elite. And I'm thinking that Jake Paul's going to beat him. Even in a box, like, where? Knockout? Point fighting? Where? Yeah, Anthony Joshua. And then both of these guys were blasting Francis Ngannou for not taking the fight because, Anthony Joshua already smacked him up. But, for Ngannou not to take that fight against Jake Paul when he's just as big as Anthony Joshua, he would clearly have the size advantage. Maybe not the boxing advantage, but he would definitely have the size and power advantage. And that's all Francis needs, as we could see what happened to Tyson Fury. So, yeah. Interesting. But also in some MVP news, MVP announces that Anderson Silva will now face Tyron Woodley at the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua event. Yes, that we went from Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman on the Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul card to Anderson Silva versus Tyron Woodley on the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua card. So at least Woodley's back. We get to see him get some more spotlight. He's been chattering on the sidelines trying to get a fight. He finally got one. Anderson Silva has obliged, and he gets to fight someone that he's probably dreamed about fighting his entire life. He may not have thought it was going to happen in boxing, but you can't always get what you want. I know everyone's heard about this Khamzat Chimaev and Machado-Garry backstage altercation at UFC Qatar. It was nothing. It was a shove. Security got in the way. They were cordial beforehand, and then Khamzat did classic Khamzat stuff. I kill you. I kill everybody. I kill. He did that type of shit. He and Machado-Garry didn't like it. Tried to show respect. It is what it is. You know, some people don't need friends in this game. It is what it is. Can't expect everybody to like you. And in some PFL news, PFL announces their first 4 events for 2026, and they plan to have 24 total shows next year. If you guys can't do the math, that's about every 2 weeks. They plan to be very active next year. And what people say is very far from what people do. We know that from the GFL. So I'm excited to see if the PFL can actually pull it off, if they can actually have full cards for 24 shows. That will be very interesting to see. The divisions aren't very stacked or filled out. So I'm interested. How do they even do that? Or do they shorten the cards? Do they how does this happen? But the first 4 are set. And 2 of those first 4, we have Usman Nurmagomedov taking on Alfie Davis. It headlines the first PFL card in 2026. So that's going to be fun to watch. I can't wait to see that fight. And then we have Ramazan Kurgomedov versus Shamil Masaya for the inaugural PFL welterweight title fight in Dubai. So a couple cool things happening for PFL next year. Great fights. I can't wait to see either of those fights. They got some killers going against each other. Alfie Davis made a name for himself this year. I can't wait to see what he does for himself in 2026. So big matchup for him. And then last piece of news here that I have in MMA updates. Rico Verhoeven vacates his Gloria heavyweight title after 12 years as the champion. But he's not declaring retirement. No. He's going to continue to fight, and he's going to even come back to kickboxing eventually. But I hear rumblings that there's talks with the UFC with Rico Verhoeven, whether that's fighting under a regional promotion on Fight Pass and then working his way up to the UFC, or going directly in, or maybe even fighting elsewhere. Maybe he takes a PFL fight or something like that. But one championship's still around as well. But just saying, Rico Verhoeven ready to dip the toes in MMA. Now, I know he's pretty old. He's like 36, 37. I know. But if there's ever a division for you to come and make a name for yourself at any point in your career, Daniel Cormier, it would probably be heavyweight. And I know Cormier had a golden ticket with wrestling in his back pocket, and having striking is not exactly the best base for having success in MMA late in your career, but Israel Adesanya did it. And he even got himself a light heavyweight fight at one point. So I'd love to see Rico Verhoeven in the UFC. That is the only place that I think he belongs. And if not, I wouldn't say PFL. I would say one championship, get a quick fight over there, and then come on over. Come on over, baby. You feel me? But yeah, I'm excited for that. Welcome, Rico Verhoeven. A Boeing 737 Max says, before seeing the face-off, I guarantee you I was picking Jake Paul is an all-time take. Jamie Shue would be proud of that one. Yeah, I was really just sipping the Kool-Aid, bro. I was, before the face-off, I was like, yo, Jake Paul, bro. Like, Anthony Joshua doesn't, like, he's taking a dive. Lazy bet in this bitch. Boom. And then Boeing says, not gonna lie, Rico leaving Glory bummed me out. Unless he fights Franny for his last PFL fight, I don't want to see Rico fight on some BS Apex card. Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. I don't see him debuting on a numbered event a la CM Punk, a la, anything like that. But I could see him making waves. Problem is placement. They're not going to give him too high of a spot, and you don't want to debut him on the prelims. So you want to debut him on the main card, and the way you do that is a bullshit Apex card or a bullshit travel card, unfortunately. The name I'm hearing bandied about for Rico is not a favorable matchup. Oh, no, Lazy. What are we hearing for Rico? What are we hearing? Because I honestly, if I was thinking of anything, I'd be like, yo, put him against Buchecha. Fuck it. And then Boeing says Rico was supposed to fight the winner of this year-long heavyweight tournament Gloria has been running. And I don't know how many people have been watching it, but it's been 6. So losing Rico as a final boss sucks. Fuck. He's done enough over there, 12 years of work. Let him have some fun doing something else. Who's the best grappler at heavyweight, Lazy says? Or second best? That's the name being tossed around. Curtis Blades? Unless he's the best grappler, then I'd be thinking Jalton Almeida. Maybe. That's the only 2 names I could think of. Now I'm going to pull the rankings up. And I have it in front of me. And yeah, I can only think of maybe Spivak, but I'm thinking Almeida. Walter Walker? Yeah, those are the only 3 names I could think of. Almeida, Walter Walker, Curtis Blades. It's one of those 3. Ding ding, Big Curtis. Shit. Oh God. That's gonna be terrible. That's gonna be terrible. He doesn't need that smoke. He don't need that smoke. Oh no. It is what it is. What can you do? What can you do? Let's get into it, shall we? Arman Tsarukyan defeats Dan Hooker by submission. Arm triangle choke, round 2, 3 minutes and 34 seconds. Title shot. Title shot. There's no other words that should be coming out of anyone's mouth for Arman Tsarukyan. I don't care what it is. You take out a top 10, a top 7, top 6 like that. You've beaten number 2. Title shot. I don't know what you want me to say. There ain't nothing left else to say. I mean, Arman Tsarukyan walked in there, struck with Dan Hooker, and got the best of him. He stood in that pocket and struck with Dan Hooker in that first round. He tried to wrestle a couple times, got Dan Hooker down, but Dan Hooker tried to get back up. And Dan Hooker, God bless Dan Hooker, funny ass Dan Hooker. Charles Oliveira tried to submit Arman Tsarukyan, but Dan Hooker he said, let me give it a shot. He said, let me give it a shot. Fuck it. I'll give it a go. And he tries to submit him, ends up on bottom for far longer than he should. Eats some elbows, eats some shots. Loses round 1, absolutely every single which way. On the feet, on the ground, whatever you want to, however you want to cut it. And then he comes out in round 2, gets taken down, gets overpowered, gets mounted. And Arman Tsarukyan sinks in that arm triangle choke. Gets the sub in round 2. Title shot. That's it. There's no other words. There's nothing else left. There's no opponent. There's no steps to take. There's no fix this, change that. Nothing. Title shot. I want to see Arman Tsarukyan and Ilia Topuria next. And the only fight that could maybe step in line before that I'll even entertain is Paddy Pimblett, not Justin Gaethje. Paddy Pimblett. I love Justin Gaethje, but I just need a little bit more. It's not that you haven't done enough, Justin. It's that everyone around you's done so much more. Max Holloway, what he did to you and who he's fought. Charles Oliveira, what he's did to you and who he's fought. Paddy Pimblett, to who he's beat. I mean, it wasn't the greatest slew of people, but he's got a beef brewing with Ilia Topuria since 2022, I think, or 2021. Pandy seasons, you know? Gamrot has a win over Tsarukyan, even though he lost to Hooker. Benoit Saint-Denis just got a major KO win over Beneil Dariush. That's the only problem. So Ilia Topuria, strap them wrestling boots up, because you got a big boy coming for your next title defense. It would be criminal, honestly, to not give Arman the next shot. It would be criminal. I'm trying in my head. I'm looking at the rankings right now as we speak, and I'm trying to build a case for anybody to get a title shot over him. And the only person I can think is Alexander Volkanovski at 45. that's the only person I can think of, and he's been knocked out by the guy. So yeah, it ain't Charles. It ain't Max. Justin needs to do a little bit more, but he would be the only other guy. Paddy just needs one more. He needs to be the top 5 guy. It's Arman Tsarukyan. Get ready for an Arman Tsarukyan Ilia Topuria bout in 2026. And if it doesn't happen, somebody's scared. I ain't going to say who, but somebody. Man. And as for Dan Hooker, yo, let's get my man a BMF fight against Max Holloway, brother. Why we got to give him some killers all the time that want to grab him and rip his limbs off? Huh? Why do we got to give him Gamrot and Tsarukyan and Islam and all these guys? Can't we give him a BSD? Can't we give him a Max Holloway? Please, BMF title shot. Dan Hooker, Max Holloway, book it. What are we doing? What are we doing? Wasting each other's times here. What the fuck are we actually doing? Tsarukyan deserves it. Just do it, UFC. I hear that. And then Hooker wants Moicano because we both suck, in his own words. I don't like that fight. I need Hooker to get some aspirations. That's an easy fight for Hooker, in my opinion. Like, yeah, Moicano could get him down and strangle him, but I feel like Moicano is just a wee bit undersized for Hooker. Just a wee bit. Hooker will be able to keep him off him. Gamrot couldn't keep him down. I don't think Moicano will be able to. Hooker versus BSD. Winner gets the winner of Max versus Charles 2. Oh, yeah, I forgot Max versus Charles 2. But it's not for the BMF, right? So, still, I need that BMF on the line, which is why I need Max. The win or lose, I think I need Max. I don't like Charles versus Hooker, yo. I think Charles backpacks him, submits him quicker. I mean, Chandler was good enough to keep him just on the back and shit. Charles submits Hooker, you know. But that BSD fight, John Ray, lazy, that BSD fight or that Max Holloway fight gets me going. That shit gets me going, bro. It really does. I didn't want to make this a headline, but I had to because I already made the lower. But Ian Machado-Garry defeats Belal Muhammad by decision. That happened. Yes. We all saw it to happen. Yes. It was unanimous decision 30-27, 30-27, 29-28. And Ian Machado-Garry point fighted. He had some great takedown defense. We didn't see any zesty clinch. But Ian Machado-Garry was the much better MMA fighter in there. And he outpointed Belal Muhammad quite easily, bloodied him up. There was some eye pokes present. But it was a great performance, classic, if you will, performance from Ian Machado-Garry. No complaints, just the usual. But he did what he had to do, walk in there and keep his name in the title picture at 170, because now would have been the worst time to take a loss to a former champion, especially with what Carlos Pradas did to him and with what Michael Morales did to the guy that finished Leon Edwards before that. So, yeah. You got to make your mark on these former champions. And Joaquin Buckley failed his test, which kept Kamaru Usman in the picture. And if Kamaru Usman doesn't get that title shot, because everybody has been giving a lot of pushback on it, and it is somebody else at 170, then I would love for Ian Machado-Garry and Usman to have a fight. That would be a solid fight, in my opinion. That would be a chess match in which we would actually be excited, because we wouldn't expect Garry to finish Usman, and we wouldn't expect Usman to finish Garry, but we'd be intrigued to see who wins in a fight like that. So that creates excitement for both guys, because we've seen the Garry and Pradas fight, and that's boring because he makes an exciting fight boring. And I imagine the Morales fight would look the same. So if Islam takes time off or goes a different route, that's a fight that I see for Ian Machado-Garry. But if it isn't that, I don't like the Leon fight. Obviously, grudge match. That would be cool to see. I don't like it. I don't like the MVP fight. It's already happened, obviously. And I don't like the Shavkat fight. That's already happened. So whoever, I think the best course of action for Ian Machado-Garry would be to just wait it out and see who isn't matched up and just take that guy, because he clearly had the worst performance out of anybody. But if timelines match up perfectly, the matchup that I see for him is Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della. It's Jack Della. John Reynos. Jack Della Maddalena. Ian Garry versus JDM. Good morning, Thumping Nip. Good morning to you as well. But yeah, Ian Machado-Garry and JDM, that's the next fight. Maybe we go Pradas Morales. Maybe we just get a tournament going. Winner, chicken dinner. And watch. We're going to end up getting the Usman Makhachev fight, aren't we? They're both managed by Ali Abdelaziz. We're going to get that, aren't we? If Shavkat doesn't come back and fight him, we're getting that. And the sad part is, whoever has to come back and fight Shavkat, which I have a feeling it's going to be Belal. Unfortunately for Belal, I have a feeling it's going to be Belal that has to fight Shavkat when he comes back. I hope it's not Sean Brady. That's a terrible fight for Sean Brady. I think it's going to be Belal, bro. Shavkat Belal is going to be the fight that Shavkat comes back to. It's just an unfortunate circumstance. But I believe that's a fight that was booked anyways. So that would be an opportunity to see that one through. But yeah, sucks to be Belal these days. Tough L. And yeah. Those are the matchups for those two. Oh, wait, no. For Belal. We didn't do Belal's matchup. I want to see Belal against MVP. Actually, I don't want to see Leon Edwards anymore. I actually think he beats Leon these days. I want to see him versus MVP or Shavkat. It's Shavkat or MVP for Bilal. I wouldn't mind MVP because think about it. MVP hasn't broken to the title picture at 70 yet. He's been doing shit up at middleweight, and he's number 10 of middleweight. I don't even know if he wants to come back to 70, but I remember him saying that he wanted to play around in both divisions. So why not give him an easy into the division by facing somebody like Bilal, so he can really make waves, being highly ranked in both divisions. You know, we haven't seen something like that since who was it? It wasn't Cowboy, was it? It was obviously Max at 55 and 45, but before that, I can't remember who was ranked. Maybe it was Cowboy, maybe it was, I can't remember. Maybe it was Gilbert. No, Gilbert wouldn't have been ranked in both. Yeah, I can't remember who was, but before Max, it was somebody. It was somebody. Let's go over the rest of the UFC Qatar, shall we? Lots of fights to talk about. Lots of finishes to talk about. Solid night of fights. Was easily the best fight night of the year for me because of such a stacked card, in my opinion, because of all the names that I was interested to see. Let's start from the top and work our way down. Tsarukyan defeats Dan Hooker via arm triangle submission, round 2, 3 minutes and 34 seconds. Machado-Garry defeats Belal Muhammad by unanimous decision, 30-27, 30-27, 29-28. Volkan Ozdemir defeats Alonzo Menefield via KO punches, round 1, 1 minute and 27 seconds. Took no time to end this fight. Used his big hooks, used his pressure, put Menefield up against that fence, and literally gave him 1% chance in this fight. I think he had a 1% chance to win this fight because Ozdemir just had all the offense. There was no offense coming back from Alonzo Menefield. One-way traffic. Ozdemir gets the TKO win, keeps himself interesting at light heavyweight. A division that needs some names to make a name for themselves. So shout out to Volkan Ozdemir, number 9, getting a huge win over a number 14 ranked fighter in the same division. Hopefully he gets a name next. I would love to see him against like a Jamal Hill, a Khalil Roundtree, just another step back up the ladder. Because remember last time Ozdemir was in the title picture, he was making shit interesting. He even got himself a title shot, I think, against Daniel Cormier. So yeah, shout out to Volkan Ozdemir. Huge fucking win. Mirbek Orolbai defeats Jack Hermanson by KO punch, round 1, 2 minutes and 46 seconds. I mean, it's tough for a fighter to drop 15 pounds in weight and keep their durability, especially after getting knocked out in their previous fight, especially past the age of 35. Jack Hermanson is doing everything he can to have a resurgence late in his career, but the body is not allowing him to take the punches that he used to. Mirbek Orolbai went full arsenal on Jack Hermanson, pushed him back immediately, threw a barrage of strikes, just made Jack Hermanson think until he couldn't keep thinking anymore, and one landed. And then another landed, and then the final shot landed that put him to sleep and stiffened him backwards. Mirbek Orolbai stiffed him up, starched Jack Hermanson, and got himself the biggest win of his career because if you don't remember, Mirbek Orolbai was down at 55, kept having weight issues, had to take a couple catch weight bouts, and now finds himself up at 70. Knocking out a former 85-pounder. So that must have felt great for him. Shout out to Mirbek Orolbai. Huge win. Waldo Cortez Acosta also found himself an absolutely ginormous win at heavyweight. He knocks out Shamil Gazia via KO punch, round 1, 1 minute and 22 seconds. Waldo Cortez Acosta was going to be my fighter spotlight of the week, but I went a little late today, so we're going to be cutting that out. But Waldo Cortez Acosta gets a huge win on short notice. If you guys didn't know, Shamil Gaziev was supposed to fight Sergey Spivak this week in UFC Qatar, but Sergey Spivak had to pull out of this bout. Shamil Gaziev made the very tough decision to stay on the card and take an opponent, whichever opponent stepped in, and that opponent happened to be Waldo Cortez Acosta, who won earlier this month by knockout in the first round, and he was able to replicate that in the first round here. Because Shamil Gaziev clearly had the game plan to strike with Sergey Spivak and didn't change the game plan at all because he clearly should have grappled against Waldo Cortez Acosta, but he didn't and paid the price. Waldo Cortez Acosta and him went toe-to-toe striking, and he caught him. He caught him good. He fell backwards, hit his head on the mat. Waldo Cortez Acosta followed up with a couple more strikes. Gets the win with a referee stopping the fight. Now, taking out number 11, knocking out number 9 earlier this month, holding his spot at number 6. You got to think that he jumps into the top 5, taking over Jailton Almeida. And Waldo Cortez Acosta finds himself in a fantastic position that he's one fight away from a title shot. Whether it's Cyril Gane, Alexander Volkov, or Waldo Cortez Acosta, one of these guys is one win away from a title shot. Huge win. That's how you make a name for yourself in the UFC. And Kyoji Horiguchi has been making a name for himself in the UFC. He left, came back, and takes out a Dagestani prospect in Talir Ulanbekov. He defeats Ulanbekov by submission, rear naked choke, round 3, 2 minutes and 18 seconds. He was beating up Tagir from start to finish. Horiguchi looked dominant. He just announced a flyweight that he's a killer and he should be in that top 5. Also, after laying a beatdown like this one, beating up Ulanbekov on the feet and then submitting him in round 3, he calls out his own training partner, the champion of the division, Alexandre Pantoja. Horiguchi says, I'll beat your ass. You got to love the moxie on this guy. I mean, well earned because he was in the UFC over a decade ago, if I'm not mistaken. Correct. Over a decade ago. His lone loss was to Demetrius Johnson. He comes back after winning titles in both Ryzen and Bellator, and then lays a beat down on somebody that's been beating up other people in the UFC for almost half a decade now himself. I mean, Kyoji Horiguchi just made a huge splash at flyweight, and what a time to do it because we got a flyweight title fight in 2 weeks. What a time to do it. I bet you he's going to be pulling up. I bet you Horiguchi's pulling up to that title fight. Horiguchi could, honestly, he's probably going to slide into the number 10 spot. But they might even put him up higher, bro. They might even drop him off at number 6. Wait, who just beat Alex Perez? Almabayev? They might even drop him off at like 8, 7 or 8 under Almabayev, maybe above Perez. They're going to do something with Horiguchi because they know the resume he's built prior to leaving the UFC. So he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem. Good luck to the flyweights. On the prelims, Luke Riley defeats Bogdan Grad via KO punches round 2, 30 seconds. He was getting grappled in round 1. That's a hole that's got to be fixed. But luckily for him, he's got A1 striking and A1 power. He put a nice strike on Bogdan Grad and dropped him. Huge power on this kid. He trains with Paddy Pimblett, Chris Fishgold. So he knew how to weather the grappling storm. I knew he would with a style like Bogdan. He comes out in round 2, lays down the big strike right on his bald forehead, and wins the fight. Shout out to Luke Riley. Nicholas Dalby, at 40 years of age, gets a big win over Sagida Zagakamayev by split decision, 29-28, 28-29, 29-28. Dalby used his pace, his pressure, put his opponent on the fence, beat him up with knee strikes and punches, neutralized his opponent by body locking him and making him just a child in the corner, honestly. Nicholas Dalby neutralized his opponent completely and ran away with the fight. He deserved the win. Asu Almabayev defeats Alex Perez via submission, guillotine choke, round 3, 22 seconds. Alex Perez was putting it on Asu Almabayev. He was bigger. He was stronger. He was taking him down. He was getting on top and landing nice elbows and punches. He was about to win this fight. And round 3, he makes a key mistake. He eats a spinning back strike, covers up. As he's covering up, Asu Almabayev yanks his neck, jumps on the gilly, doesn't let it go. Alex Perez forced to tap to a submission for the 6th time in his career. The previous 5 times was round 1. Got him in round 3. Can't believe it. Abdul Rakhmanyakayev defeats Rafael Siqueira via submission, rear naked choke, round 1, 33 seconds. I mean, it looked like it was going to be a TKO. He came right at him, started beating him up, drops him, sees the opportunity to grab that neck and grabs it, takes the rear naked. It was his win. Referee kind of refused to stop that fight. He just looked like he wanted the sub. Alexander Topuria defeats Bekzat Almakhan via unanimous decision. 30-27, 30-27, 29-28. The Topurias still looking good. I mean, he looked just like his brother. Big, strong, fantastic boxing, controlling where the fight went, edging forward slowly, taking the fight as his own pace. He looked great. He took out a knockout artist by unanimous decision and made it look like he won every second of the fight. Ismail Nordiev defeats Ryan Loder via KO punch, round 1, 1 minute and 26 seconds. Huge win for Ismail Nordiev. Austrian, also a guy that was in the UFC, came back after years of being out of the promotion and gets himself a big win. Also gets the first finish, his first finish in the UFC. He was he has like 16 finishes, something like that. And this was his first in the UFC, usually getting decision wins, but making a name for himself in the UFC now. Shout out to Ismail Nordiev, the Austrian. Got it done. Nurullo Aliyev defeats Shamrock via unanimous decision, 30-27 across the board. He just wrestled him, kept him down, did what he did. And then Denzel Freeman defeats Marek Bujlo, unanimous decision, 30-27, 29-28, 29-28. It was a little bit of some heavyweight slop, but, you need a little bit of that to start off a card sometimes, It's like greasing the wheels. Get it going. If you're wondering who got the $50,000 bonuses, it was Arman with his submission of Hooker, Waldo Cortez Acosta with his TKO, Kyoji Horiguchi with his submission, and Luke Riley with his KO. And that was it for UFC Qatar. Like I said, no fighter spotlight this week. I was thinking it was going to be Waldo Cortez Acosta. I was thinking it was going to be Ismail Nordiev. I went a little late today, so I wanted to actually cut that out of the show. So sorry, no fighter spotlight this week, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Okay, let's get into some boxing. Some boxing happened, baby. David Benavidez Jr., Anthony Yarde, the ring 4. Benavidez versus Yarde. Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney. Abdullah Mason versus Sam Nose. Vito Milnecki Jr. Bam Rodriguez. I mean, this was a card that I hope you didn't miss. It was a fun one. We got the knockouts we wanted. We got wars. We got drops. We got to find out some new stuff about some people. I mean, let's go over this card, shall we? Shall we? Top to bottom? Top to bottom? Yeah. Let's start with the main event. David Benavidez defeats Anthony Yarde by KO in round 7. This was for the WBC light heavyweight title. David Benavidez gets his first knockout at light heavyweight since moving up from middleweight. And David Benavidez looked fantastic. He still carried that power. He still carried that speed. He put Anthony Yarde in the corner and just punished him with body shots. And then once he started blocking down low, he came up top with a barrage of strikes. David Benavidez was fighting in combination, proving that he was the better fighter here. It was absolutely going to be a knockout from Benavidez once we saw round 5. Anthony Yarde was doing well at first, pumping his jab, staying on his bike, but then he started getting cornered. And once you start getting cornered enough times by Benavidez and start eating enough shots, it's just a matter of time till he finds the one that takes you out. And he got him in that corner, landed the shot, dropped him. He got back up, came back out. To his credit, but David Benavidez is a killer, and when he smells blood, he doesn't let go of that he's a dog, and when he smells blood, he don't let go of that bone. He gonna just bite down harder, and that's what he did. He bit down harder on that mouthpiece, took Anthony Yarde into that corner, and finished that fight off. David Benavidez with a huge win, and afterwards, he announces that he's going to be taking on Zurdo Ramirez for another title. I cannot wait to see that fight. David Benavidez Jr. is taking on challenges, and all challenges. He's doing what boxers dream to do. So appreciate David Benavidez. He's always chasing gold, always chasing belts, and appreciate a boxer like that. He's always putting in work, man. He's a fun fighter to watch. His knockout rate just keeps going up as well. It goes from 82 to, I believe, like 86 now, something like that. Devin Haney defeats Brian Norman Jr. via unanimous decision for the WBO welterweight title. Devin Haney joining the welterweight ranks and showing that he has the power to stay there. Watch out, Conor Ben. Watch out, everyone else. Devin Haney isn't the same Devin Haney that you've seen him down at bantamweight, all right? This Devin Haney can sit in that pocket and drop you. And that's what he did to Brian Norman Jr. in round 2. Devin Haney sat down on his punches, waited for Brian Norman Jr. to come in, split his timing, and put him on his ass. We all thought Brian Norman Jr. was going to be the one to drop Devin Haney. That's not what happened. Devin Haney dropped Brian Norman Jr. and took him out of the fight until about round 6 or 7. Brian Norman Jr. had no legs under him for first half of this fight. He was trying to figure it out until he finally got his wits back at about the round 7 mark. He started pushing, started landing some shots on Devin Haney, fought his way back into the fight, even having a judge give one of the scorecards 114, 113. Egregious, by the way. It was still for Haney, but egregious. But yeah, Devin Haney still gets the unanimous decision win. And he doesn't make any call-outs afterwards, but Conor Ben's looking. He's got his eyes on Devin Haney. There's a bunch of names that Devin Haney's got his eyes on at welterweight. So he made himself a splash jumping in at welterweight as well. Jesse Bam Rodriguez defeats Fernando Martinez by KO in round 10 for the WBC, WBO, WBA, and Ring Super Flyweight titles. Jesse Bam Rodriguez absolutely styled and had an all-time performance here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Jesse Bam Rodriguez was pitching a shutout. It was 10 rounds to nothing. Absolutely, unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, it was 10 rounds to nothing. Jesse Bam Rodriguez won every single exchange, won every single moment of this fight, got out of the way of all Fernando Martinez's strikes, and then just kept eating him up to the body, eating him up top, just absolutely punishing Fernando Martinez. And finally, for his final act in his finishing sequence, he played possum, in which He walked forward in an unassuming manner, letting Fernando Martinez think that he wasn't going to throw a strike. And just as he got comfortable, Jesse Bam Rodriguez lands the finishing shot and drops Fernando Martinez to his back. The referee gives him the count, but Fernando Martinez was never going to get up from that count. He was happy being on his back. He got his ass kicked for 10 rounds, and he finally got the out that he needed. Jesse Bam Rodriguez knocked him out. Shout out to Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Gets the biggest win of his career. Jesse Rodriguez wants to fight Inoue. He wants big challenges next. This was a night of up-and-comers that have finally made a name for themselves, taking the next step. And all of these guys want to take the next step. So shout out to David Benavidez. Shout out to Devin Haney. Shout out to Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Shout out to Abdullah Mason and Vito Mielnicki Jr. as well. Abdullah Mason defeats Sam Noakes by unanimous decision to win the vacant WBO lightweight title. This fight was a war. It says unanimous decision. It was a close one, but Abdullah Mason made it so because Sam Noakes was eating a lot of shots on the body, was getting beat up top, had a cut under his eye, was bruised, battered, but Abdullah Mason loves to go for that finishing sequence. So he kept leaving these openings, and Sam Noakes is a finisher. I think he has 18 knockouts on his record. He's a finisher himself. You don't give a guy like that openings. So Sam Noakes made him pay, made the fight a lot closer than it had to be. But it was a war, man. Sam Noakes is a very good fighter. And Abdullah Mason made it a fun fight with Sam Noakes. I mean, I'd love to see this fight again in the future. This was a solid bout. Great boxing from both guys in this bout. Abdullah Mason, a couple holes to fix, but I mean, it's not really holes. It's just that he needs to be a little more reserved with his style. And then Vito Mielnicki Jr., shout out to New Jersey, and shout out to Jake Roseman. He defeats Samuel Moma by TKO in round 9. Vito Mielnicki Jr. looked great. He was pushing his opponent back, landing some body shots, got caught a couple times, but recovered very nicely, and then landed a big hook in the corner to take his opponent out of the fight. Landed a right straight on his opponent, wobbled him as he's coming out of the corner, lands a nice left hook on him, drops him, fight over. And on the prelims, Muhammad Alakal defeats Jiaming Lee by unanimous decision at super featherweight. Julio Porras Ruiz goes to a draw with Mpenda for 6 rounds at super middleweight, and Sultan Al Muhammad defeats Umesh Chavan by TKO round 1 in a 4-round bout at lightweight. And that does it for the David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde, the Ring 4 card. And last but not least, we had some other boxing. Mizuki Hiruta took on Gloria Gallardo this weekend for the women's junior bantamweight title. And guess what? Mizuki Hiruta shut her out. 10 rounds to nothing. It was 100-90 on all 3 judges' scorecards. I mean, she just beat her down, had the more powerful strikes. It was a clear victory. And it should be said that Mizuki Hiruta is going to be a fantastic champion because she looked fantastic in this win. Just dominant. And I just wanted to make sure that she got her flowers because not a lot of people were talking about that card because of the Benavidez and Yarde card, but fantastic win for Mizuki Hiruta. Okay. And other news in boxing, just talk about the rest of the boxing slate that we got for the rest of this year here. I'll go a little more in depth. Next weekend, we got Lorenzo Parra and Elijah Pierce, 12 rounds for the WBO featherweight title. It's a title eliminator. And then we also have in Birmingham, England on DAZN, Ben Whittaker taking on Benjamin Gavazi. Okay, so don't forget to check out those fights next week. And I will be covering, maybe I'll even do a watch along for DAZN. We'll see. There ain't nothing much this weekend, so maybe I'll do something this weekend for that. And then we also have in Derby, England, Fraser Clark and Jimmy Sheva, 12 rounds for the vacant British heavyweight title. Also, Francesca Hennessy is taking on Fabiana Bitiki, 10 rounds for the women's bantamweight. December 6th in San Antonio on PBC pay-per-view on Prime Video, we have Lamont Roach Jr. taking on Isak Pitbull Cruz. 12 rounds for the vacant WBC interim junior welterweight title. Okay, don't forget about Oshaki Foster on the card fighting Stephen Fulton Jr. for their Foster's WBC junior lightweight title. Jesus Ramos Jr. taking on Shane Mosley Jr. on the card. Frank Martin taking on Rances Barthelemy. Also on December 6th in Monte Carlo, Monaco on DAZN, we have Shabazz Massoud taking on Peter McGrail, 12 rounds at junior featherweight, a title fight between Beatrice Fajeda and Alif Nur Turhan, 10 rounds for Fajeda's IBF women's lightweight title. Okay, and then December 6th as well, we also have Broad Beach, Australia, title fight between Jai Opataya and Hussein Sin Cara, 12 rounds for Opataya's IBF cruiserweight title. December 12th in Dubai, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Kubrat Pulev is taking on Murat Gassiev, 12 rounds for Pulev's WBA regular heavyweight title. December 13th in Stockton, California on DAZN. We have Diego Pacheco taking on Kevin Lele Sajo, 12 rounds at super middleweight. Also on the card, Sky Nicholson, shout out to our girl Sky Nicholson, taking on Julian Luna Avila, 10 rounds for the vacant WBC women's junior featherweight interim title. Ramon Cardenas also on the card taking on Cesar Vaca, 10 rounds of junior featherweight. Plenty of other fights on December 13th between Badu Jack. We also have Gloria Munguia on the card, Erica Rosa. Plenty of fights. December 19th in Miami on Netflix, we have Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Also on the card, we have Anderson Silva taking on Tyron Woodley. December 19th, we also have a card in Lagos, Nigeria, featuring Lawrence Okoli and David Adeleye. So don't forget that. And December 27th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, on DAZN, we have the title fight between Naoya Inoue and Alan Picasso. Okay, that's 12 rounds for Inoue's undisputed junior featherweight championship. And that does it for the boxing slate. And that's it for this show, really. I'm just going to give you guys a couple of picks before I get up the fuck on out of here. Shall we? Picks real quick because we got a couple boxing cards next week. First, we have Lorenzo Parra and Elijah Pierce. Okay. I don't know who's going to win this fight, in all honesty. Both of these guys have knockout wins. I think Pierce is 17. I think they both have 17 knockout wins, actually. Pierce is 21 wins. And Parra has 23, or I might have that flipped. No, Parra has 23, and Pierce has 21 wins. Okay, so like both of these guys, lots of wins, lots of knockouts. And we saw how that played out this weekend with Abdullah Mason and Sam Noakes. And it was more clear to see who's going to win in that fight. I would lean Lorenzo Parra, but I can't be sure. So I'm just going to go with fight end decision in this fight. That's what I like. But if I had to lean one side, I'd probably go with Parra. Elijah Pierce is good, but he's been a B-side. I feel like he's a B-side for a reason. And then there's a fight between Luis Arias and Lazaro Lorenzana. I got to go with Lorenzana, man. I think this is going to be an early TKO, rounds 1 through 6. Arias gets a lot of KOs early, and Lorenzana Arias gets knocked out early a lot, and he got knocked out early in his last fight. And Lorenzana has 13 KOs, so I'm going to go with Lorenzana TKO and possibly early 1 to 6. I kind of like the 1 to 6 in that one. And yeah, that does it for the Lorenzo Parra and Elijah Pierce card. And last but not least, the Ben Whittaker versus Benjamin Gavazi card. Okay. And I got to go with the Whittaker KO. I feel like he got a KO in his last time out. I feel like, and it was at a rematch from his bout beforehand with the very same opponent where I believe it was a majority draw or majority decision. I think he got a taste for that knockout. He's going to want to get another one. The guy that he's fighting hasn't fought the best guys. He's only fought one guy that was undefeated, and he was only 10-0. He's getting another guy like this, but Ben Whittaker is a killer. I think Ben Whittaker is going to get enough hands on him to KO him. So I like Ben Whittaker. I like Ben Whittaker money line. I like Ben Whittaker KO. Obviously, Ben Whittaker decision's possible, but I like him to get the finish. Okay. And that does it for me, and that does it for this show. I'm getting on up out of here. Appreciate everybody that showed up for the show. Chill with me in this chat. Thumping Nip, John Ray, Lazy Bed, A Boeing 737. I know Rob Gloria is going to be watching this later. Tanner, Richland, May Minute, all the boys will be watching it later. Appreciate everybody that comes by, shows love to the channel. Don't forget to get them watch hours up. Don't forget to tune in. We'll be live with no CP units this week. No nothing this week, honestly. Just going to be putting out cut downs all week. But maybe we'll go live this week for the boxing, and then I think we'll do a live chat on Sunday still. So don't forget to tune in this week. Appreciate everybody that shows love. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like the video before you get out of here. Subscribe to both channels, Main Card Minute and One More Round Fights. Do not forget to subscribe to One More Round Fights. Sub right here, motherfucker. Don't be weird about it. Right there. Okay, we're trying to get to 650. Hopefully we did it. You know, if we didn't, it is what it is. But yeah, appreciate you guys always showing love to the channel. I'll see you guys soon. Enjoy the rest of the week. Hopefully you guys have some boxing because there's no MMA or anything this week. You know, we just got Thanksgiving and family. Oh, and some drinking. Let's have some fun, drink, and be merry. Enjoy. Peace.
Then you will deny I'm a sick talent. Whole music industry is imbalanced. I just managed to smoke weed and get panties and I pull. Cause I'm really not a chick magnet, but I'm cool. I am back at it. Love crime, I have savage. I already lost my mind and I crash planets. Yes, I do it all the time and I can't stand it. I am back at it. Yeah, high like a crack addict, but I'm really on my grind. I ain't outlandish. I'm just steady trying to fly cause I'm now stranded. I am back at it. Love crime, I have savage. I already